now that the good weather's here, finally, and I can do some work on the Vario, I thought I'd take a break, a cup of tea. Often see you with a cup of tea, don't you? I thought I'd take a break and just spare a thought for those who might be looking for a Vario. Now, your biggest worry, apart from finding one, is to find one that's not rusty. Unfortunately, they're all rusty because, well, subject to this video really. Why, excuse the mess as ever, that's not my motorcycle, a different motorcycle. Why do they go rusty? Now, why is every Vario I've ever seen rusty to a degree? Some worse than others, some are just wouldn't go near. And what sort of expenses are going to cost you if you can't weld yourself? Well, let's have a look at what I've done so far, and maybe I can alleviate some of your worries. I'm using a different camera now, by the way. I've got rid of that phone and actually put it on the better camera so we can hopefully get better quality. So this is my Vario, as you know. If you've seen the previous video of mine, I called it rusty. I've been doing a lot of work on it, doing quite a lot of work on it actually, over the weeks and months that have passed since last November. It's now March, and gradually, you know, as the weather's allowed, I've improved it. Today I've put this skirt back on the back end there, the spoiler skirt, we're going to call it, on the back end there. As you can see, I've repaired all the back end on this, and I'll show you that in this side because I'm proud of it. All the work I've done to hit down here, you know, it's all back in one piece now. A little bit of filler on, puffed it with a bit of underseal primer just to show you lumps and bumps. Still got a bit of work to do on it still, you know. But where do they go rusty and why? Like I said, every Vario goes rusty. As you can see, I've got a rusty back door here. I'll come to that in a second actually. So to one degree or another, they're all rusty. They always go in the same places. And no doubt you've seen lots of videos of people trying to repair it. I've taken the skirt off this side partly because I've just started doing this piece here. But they always go on this sort of waist, this seal line here. As you can see, this one's gone. You know, it's not too bad. It's gone up here across these arches. These arches nearly always go, and I expect this to be completely rotten under here. You can't always see the rust, but if it started there, the chances are it's going to be all the way around that. I don't know why I'm using that finger. Apologies. Around the ends there. And quite often they go up inside here as well. Just, I don't know if the camera picked that up, but up inside. So when you're looking for one, just put your hand up here and just see how much rust comes out. You can feel your way around. Again, arches. This one's got fiberglass arches in it, so that was done at an early stage. Again, all the way along here, this has got an inner and an outer seal, so you can buy these skins, which I put one on the other side. They're not the best quality ever, but invariably, as I've done, you have to repair the inner section inside here. But they all go along here, and they all go around the marker light. See this marker light here? I'm going to show you how to repair that. I'll demonstrate a weld I do on that when I come to fix this piece. Okay, not too terrifying. You know, don't be too worried about this sort of thing unless it's completely gone up here somewhere. If it's gone above this waistline, you're in trouble there. So again, quite nasty along this bit here. So in front of the rear wheel arch, you can see it's gone here. Like I've said, it's gone. You know, all the way along here. I can see the inside's gone here. So you know, we can see daylight through the panel right there. Again, not too scary. I mean, the panel you buy goes up to here. You know, and as long as you've got fairly solid metal above that, or you know, halfway up or whatever, you know, I wouldn't worry too much about it if you're not paying someone, if you can do it yourself. Moving forward, they all seem to go along the doors. This has got a kind of fiberglass door extension on it because it's the entrance to the minibus side of things. Showing what I mean. There's no seat there. Oh, sorry, it's locked. Can't do it. But anyway, there's a deep step there. I've got a project in mind for that. But they all seem to go by these quarter lights here. Quarter lights by the window. It's a bit bright here today, unusually, and you can see that's bubbled up nasty. There's going to be a big hole in the top of that, I guarantee you, and that's because water settles into here when it's raining, and actually the water's channeled inside the door, which I didn't really realise that. I should have realised that, but when it rains, when the water runs off this glass, or it's driving in rain, it's actually channeled inside the door to come out the vents at the bottom, which is, well, they've all done that really, but other places they go rusty. Here's the mess. I'm tidying up this rear crossmember here, this rear section here. I've repaired this. I've got some evidence of that. It's always best to keep evidence of what you've done and not just painted over it. What's interesting is they go rusty underneath this plastic trim on here. It's because water collects through the holes here. Water collects under the back of, inside on the metalworking underneath this trim, and it rots away. This wasn't too bad. I'll put a picture up now. And as you can see, the repair I've done, I'm reasonably happy with it. We put some hefty metal plates in here, as I've said, and I'm quite happy with that. It's nice. It's all nice and new. I'll undersill it from behind as well when it's done. So yeah, other places around the doors, around the door hinges. This one's particularly gone, I think, on the near side hinge. It's not great. I'm on camera. Have a focus. It's not great, but it's repairable. Nothing too serious there. And I'm sure there are others are a lot worse than this. I've seen repairs a lot worse than this, and you can get a lot of panels for them. So, why does this happen? When they build these vans at the factory, and all Mercedes, in fact, what they do is dip them as they've put the body together, and as they've built the bare bones of it. They dip them in a bath of stuff that kind of coats everything, coats the insides of the sills. Now I've been told this, whether it's true or not I don't know, so don't quote me on it, don't sue me over it, but Mercedes used to double dip their chassis and their bodies, and somebody told me, it kind of makes sense really, that in about my early 90s they stopped doing that because it uses double the amount of dip wherever they dip it in. I'll show you what that is in a second. And so they started dipping them only once because longevity doesn't equal profit. Oddly enough, you think it would, wouldn't you? But it doesn't. The reputation of Mercedes is such they make strong, reliable, long-lasting cars. But in reality, I've had a couple of Mercedes cars, in fact, and they've rust away. They're just not that protected. So I can show you why that is actually. In fact, we'll do it straight after this. So here's my, excuse the mess. It's full of tin cans. That is. If anyone wants any tin cans, aluminium cans. So here is my wheelbarrow of shame. These are all the parts and bits and pieces that I've pulled off my Mercedes area as I've been doing it. It's a good example here. Now this is a piece of inner sill from the offside. So I took the outer wing off, there's a bit in here somewhere, and found that this was a little bit rotten, as you can see. So I cut it out and replaced it with a section that I made. As you can see, it's quite hefty metal. I'll put it on the end there. It's quite a heavy gauge metal, and it's quite, it's good quality. But if you actually look here, I've ground a little bit off, a bit rusty now. As you can see, there's just a thin layer of, I'll call it paint for a better description. There is just a thin layer of paint on here. This is on the inside, by the way. The outside is this section here, so that would be up underneath, with the outer sill coming down on top of it here. So you can see where it's gone rusty, and you see where the rust has crept in and started to deteriorate and weaken the metal. Same goes on the outside. Now all Mercedes, many cars in fact, come with these bung holes here. You'll see those on the inside. If you get up underneath your Mercedes, you'll see that there's a bung hole up there like that. And what you could have done, if it was new, was pull those out and impregnate all the cavities and gaps with some wax oil or some proprietary kind of underseal or whatever you want to do. Underneath the Varios, it's full of these. You pull out the little plastic plug, put your nozzle in there, and I've got a gun with a long nozzle on it, chuck it inside here, and you kind of spray it. If you did that from new, you wouldn't have this problem. But unfortunately, Mercedes dipped them only once, so we're told. There's the outer piece there, and then they gave them a thin layer of protection. There's nothing there. It just feels like paint. So any little scratch, dent, whatever that's on the bodywork of your Mercedes, your Vario, will turn into rust. And that, my friends, is why they go so rusty. So good luck finding one that isn't rusty. And if you do have one, then make sure you pull out all those bung holes and get it under sealed as soon as possible. Then it might last a bit longer. Another place they go rotten are in the footwells here on both sides. You may have seen a video I made earlier about replacing all the metalwork underneath here. It's quite common for this this bottom area to get rotten and rusty because the wheel froze up all sorts of crud underneath here. Also another place is out at the door underneath the wheel arch under here. That's not focused, is it? Yeah, up inside front wheel arches. You often find they go rotten. I don't actually know how bad this one is. I've not taken it apart yet. I don't think it's too bad. There's a little bit showing through here under there, so you know, I have to have a closer look at that. But generally, yeah, under this floor, just watch out. So it's a bit dim under here. Just watch out for anything like that. One last place is a slam panel, which is the section under the windscreen here. So there's a bulkhead below this panel, which is runs the length of the windscreen. I've seen a few of these, and there's a few horror stories of those coming off, and you find that underneath is completely rotten. So be a little bit careful with that one. I've got a little bit of crud here and there, and there are no real streaks of rust running down. If I come on the inside again, sorry for dreadful camera work as usual. Pull this trim down, not fixed on the air. You'd see it's sort of streaks of rust on the inside of this bulkhead here. The bulkhead's right at the back ahead of it. Is it focusing properly? Doesn't look like it, does it? Cameras work. Anyway, there's no sort of rust marks down the back of here. I will take that panel off and have a look and see what's behind the windscreen, but I think it'll be okay. Famous last words. I'll come back to you. Yeah, van's in a state of disrepair at the moment, so I'm constantly working on it. What am I trying to show you with this video? If you're looking for a Vario and you've got your heart set on one, then you're going to have to be prepared to do some work on it. They all go rusty up. You see very rarely do you see one that's in pristine condition. If you do, they're usually really expensive. And for the same money you could get an equally good reliable van like a Sprinter or one of the big man vans. They're quite nice as well. You know, they're not they're a lot more modern than the Vario, but like me, you know, you got your heart set on one. I always like them. You like them for their tough build, then yeah, go for one. But be prepared. You're going to have to do some work on it, and before you can do all the good stuff, you know, put all the systems in it, make it into that ideal camper van, that tiny home on wheels, you're going to have to get stuck in with some of the rust work and some of the issues that they come with. They're an old vehicle nowadays. They stopped making them nearly 10 years ago. So you're going to have to do some work on it, and if you can't weld yourself, or if you can't repair it yourself, or know somebody, you've got a mate, then it's going to cost you. There's a lot of hours gone into putting the panels right on my one, and mine's not too bad. I've seen them a lot worse than that, some real scary ones. But if it's what you want, then, and you can afford it and you can budget for that, then go ahead and do it. You know, it'll pay for itself, because they go up in value as well. One of the few vans I know that will increase in value according to its condition. Not many vehicles like that these days. So go right ahead. If it's what you want, do so. But if it's not, if you're a little bit scared by some of the things I've said and things I've seen, you've seen, you know, think twice, think about something else. You know, I don't want to put you off, but at the same time, I don't want you to step into something you may regret later on. I'll do it because I enjoy doing it. I can weld. I've got other techniques to put panels on that I may show you at a later date, but for that reason, I'm happy to go ahead and proceed with mine. Anyway, thanks for watching and good luck.